So we work with pharma and med tech companies to understand doctors and patients and how they make decisions. And in that world, like the doctor patient consultation, the conversation that they're having with one another, is really the holy grail. Like we really want to understand the questions that doctors ask and how patients describe their symptoms and exactly what happens in those moments that really matter inside the consultation room. But from a technical perspective, they're really hard to simulate in a research environment. There are ethical considerations. You can't just bring doctors and patients together and ask them to do a consultation because if it's in an artificial environment, then you can't talk about specific products, which is a big interest for our clients. There are companies that record consultations, but that requires like the product to be licensed and for enough doctors and patients to actually talk about it for them to collect that data and use that. So we used to kind of simulate it where we'd have an actor come in and play a patient and then interact with a doctor or play a doctor and interact with a patient. But, there's just no good way to kind of simulate that environment. And when we came across AI avatars, so interactive AI avatars, we were like, this is what we've been waiting for. We can use this to simulate doctor patient consultations. If we get an AI avatar to play half of that consultation, we can get a real person to play the other half and they have a foil to interact with for us to really understand how they would actually act in that situation, the things they would actually say, the things they would actually ask. So that's basically what we did, what we went away and built and experimented with.
Yeah, so it's one of those things where you have these limitations, um, and then all of a sudden technology comes in and just eliminates the entire, concept of the limitation. I think we're seeing that with AI kind of everywhere these days. For somebody outside of pharma, why are real consultations so hard to study? And why have the old workarounds kind of fallen so short for all these years?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think because again, they start to become really artificial in that, if you get an actor in, or we used to just do the moderator in the interview might say, imagine I'm your doctor patient, what would you say to me? And it's really easy for the respondent, for the doctor or the patient to kind of get outside of that situation. They're not really fully immersed in it. It doesn't feel like a full simulation. They kind of say, "Oh, well, here I would talk about the symptoms that I've experienced, or I would ask about this," rather than actually asking about it or actually talking about it. So and again, from a compliance and ethics perspective in pharma, we're not able to ask real doctors and real patients to role play in a way that they talk about specific brands. So by using the AI interactive avatars, we were able to give them the freedom to talk about kind of specific products or specific brands or really role play a conversation in a more immersive way. So we get more of that actual verbiage that they would use in those conversations.